I really don't like remakes. I'd rather studios take a chance on a new IP, but once in a blue moon, a remake comes around that shatters all of my expectations, and Resident Evil 4 is one of those remakes. Resident Evil 4 Remake really seems like the game that Capcom wanted to make back in 2005 with all of the fat trimmed out. A survival horror game balanced with some white-knuckle action and maybe a little bit of campiness sprinkled in. They walk this fine line of horror and action that is just so masterful, and it's all because of the... Capcom has completely revamped and reworked parts of the game, cutting long drawn-out parts and making the whole game atmospherically consistent. I remember some sections of the original going on far too long. I remember feeling combat fatigue in the latter half because they just throw a shitload of combat at you. In the remake, they have a formula. There are these slow burn moments of like a building of atmosphere, and you're walking through an area. You're feeling tense because nothing is really happening and you're anticipating something, and then bam, they just throw you into an encounter where you're running and gunning with a sliver of health, and I guarantee you'll be clenching your booty the whole way through. The introduction to the Gyarados is just terrifying. They introduce you to him and he breaks free, and you kind of have a 1v1 situation where you're sneaking around back behind him and stabbing him, or you're just taking him out in 3 shots with the sniper. And it all plays out pretty slow paced and like, you know, it's very methodical feeling. But then later, Capcom shakes it up and says, wouldn't it be interesting if there were 2 Gyarados and some cultists? So in this scenario, you're kind of pushed up against the wall by the cultists that are making you move, making sound, and then the Gyarados break free. And the whole thing constantly tits up and you have to just manage it. It's just one of the most fun sections in the game. This encounter was in the original, but it really exemplifies that slow burn and action contrast in the game. One part of the game that they reworked was the introduction of the regenerator, and my god, they did a great job at this. I thought I knew how it was going to go down when I walked up into the lab. I figured it would go down the same. You'd get the bioscope right before the encounter so that you could defeat the enemy. Instead, they throw it at you right at the beginning and scare the living shit out of me. This is the cool part. Whoa! Okay, that's not where I remember him being. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Oh, dude, I am so startled. And I was in complete disbelief that they would have this thing terrorize you for a little bit before letting you kill them. But honestly, it was a really good change. It made the enemy feel just that much more menacing on top of how just gruesome it looks. And then it felt like a monumental achievement once you could take them down with the bioscope. So yeah, it's like a roller coaster ride all the way through. They know just when to slow it down, and they know just when to throw a bunch of shit at you. Another thing they did really well in this title was they did like subtle details as you progress through the game on like Leon, and I don't just mean his clothes change. He looks so tired by the middle point of the game. You really see it in his face and like the dark circles under his eyes when they take the boat over to the labs. And I'm sure there's a bunch more details throughout the game too as it progresses. Let me know anything you notice so I can keep an eye out for my next playthrough. I guess it'd be a crime if I didn't mention the music and like the sound design. The sound design is just awesome. It's so good. Like, it helps so much with the atmosphere, and it seems like they put so much work into it. And the music in the boss fights really play up the spectacle with the orchestral bombast akin to like a Dark Souls boss fight. And I know what you're thinking. Is Resident Evil 4 Remake the Dark Souls of... One of the things that I noticed in the demo that was absent in the original game when I initially played it was the doggy was potentially gone, and that really bummed me out, and it made me very angry. Bro, they killed him! Man, bad game, 1 out of 10. But I actually like that they moved him further in because they just like minefielded us with all of these bear traps, and I swear I stepped on every single bear trap throughout the game. But then a little later on you hear... and your brain just goes, damn, literally me. And once you save them, you know what happens after that, right? Yo, the wolf! Oh, that's so sick! The little thunder strike in the background. The last thing I'll touch on is the Metal Gear Solid vibes that I got throughout the game. It was, I hope I'm not the only one that's thinking this, but like, I don't know. Does anyone else get Metal Gear Solid vibes from this? Because I got a lot, especially towards the end when you're running down the clock before the island's gonna explode and you're just like, it's like an action movie set piece. Something about that reminded me of the little truck run at the end of MGS1 when you have to get out and the base is exploding too. So yeah, those are my disorganized thoughts on the game. Hope you enjoyed the video. I give this one good boy out of 1 El Gigante.